My 92 C1500 had some issues with it. Had massive blow-by. Low oil pressure, a little bit of loss of power, and one day it left me stranded. Pretty sure what happened when it left me stranded, I'm pretty sure I lost fuel pressure and it was lean popping. Having said that, I was really left with two options. Well, three. One, I could drive it till it completely blows up and leave me stranded again somewhere. Option two was pull the small block Chevy, rebuild it. But if I rebuild it, I didn't want to use the TBI because that's a major restriction. So I wanted to rebuild it with a something 4-barrel, but I didn't want to use a carburetor because, well, I'm not good with carburetors. I wanted to get new heads. It already has pretty good headers on it. Just work it, you know, work it from the bottom up and just make it a really good, clean running engine. For three, was to swap an engine into it. I went to option number three. We're gonna LS swap it. I want to LS swap it because, well, to get a small block Chevy heads to flow as good as the LS heads, it's very expensive. To make a good, clean, reliable 300 horsepower, that's not a lot, I understand, with very basic mods. It's undeniable they have one of the best aftermarkets in the world. There's no debating that. It's either the LS or the 2JZ have the best aftermarket in the world. This engine, when I bought it, it had a wiring harness, but they the previous owners cut it pretty hard. There's some missing pieces quite a bit. The intake has a hole in it, just that's gone. They weren't gentle with this thing when they took it out. It does have compression. I don't know how much. I did check the oil a bunch. It does have good looking oil. It is a 4.853. It's a 5.3 according to the casting numbers. 12567393. That means it's a 99 to 07 5.3 liter. It's a 05 to 07 because of the heads. If these heads are stock, their heads are 799s. They're the basic heads, but these ones have a little more compression on them. Was an automatic, as you can see. Has a flex plate. I want to manual swap it, put a T56 behind it. At least that's my plan. It probably will change 3 or 4 times. And the oil looks almost brand new. A couple hundred miles on it, but not bad. These headers are pace setters. Pace setter 702265s. I looked that up earlier. Those are decent headers, not super expensive, but not the fanciest. Do a standalone harness, integrating the harness with my current 92 harness and make it run that way. There's some things that got hot. That's not a good sign. Have the wiring harness removed. The best way to describe this old harness is crispy. I'd be chasing broken wires and crap on that all the time. Next thing I think I should do, I should probably take these headers off. You can see the exhaust valves, and if you look closely, I can't get you a good view, but you can see they have rust on it, which is not good. Let's go take the other side off. Have the headers, coils, and valve springs or valve covers removed. When I bought this engine, the guy did say he got new valve springs under there, which does look like it does, but I've never really seen stock valve springs in this engine. The rockers don't look aftermarket. Of course they could be, but they're all tight. I mean, that's how you check them on a small block Chevy. They look cleanish into here, and there's a little bit of dirt and debris. Based off what I'm seeing with this fuel rail and these injectors, these are the multi-tech or Molt-Tech style injectors, as you can see there. And this fuel rail is a return style fuel rail. If I'm correct, they stopped making the return style fuel rail on truck engines in 2004. So my theory of this being a 2005 to 2000 engine is incorrect, unless this isn't the stock fuel rail. Doesn't look like it is. That bolt doesn't belong. That bolt, it's finger tight. Doesn't really matter. I'm probably not going to use, well, I'm not going to use these fuel rails. I'm going to get one of the fancy set of AN fuel rails. And if these are those Molt-Tech injectors, they're only 28, or at max they're 28 psi. I think they're 24 to 25 psi. I'll probably get something a little bigger, so like some 36s. Not to boost it or anything later, just to have extra capacity. You know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Run bigger injectors, have the ability to do more stuff later. Removing my fuel rail. Pulled the fuel rail off, and these injectors do not look very clean. Looks like they were installed hastily. The injectors were all pretty gross, and looks like they installed them and didn't clean them. Got the throttle body off with a fun little spacer. Dropped a bolt. Shouldn't be important. It's just a little guy. I'm not going to be using this throttle body either. I say this engine ran when parked, but I'm thinking I got taken. That's not supposed to come off that easy. Somebody took me for a fool. Backing it off a little bit. Now if you can look in here and you can see all the valves. All the intake valves. They ran modern fuel in it because there's a little rust. But other than that, I mean, it's dirty and needs cleaned up something fierce. But they don't look like there's that much, if any, damage in there. But I could be wrong. I mean, kind of got taken for a fuel on this one. Taken for a fool on this one. Pull all these spark plugs out, take a look inside. Spark plugs out of the right bank don't look too bad. Here's the plugs for the left bank. There's some dirt on the inside and some debris. Not engine debris, just dirt, leaves and stuff. Okay, marked all the cylinders just for my purpose. But we're gonna run the borescope into each cylinder. Let's see what we see. Next test, I want to see if all the valves are even moving when I rotate it. All the valves move. I'm going to pull this oil filter off to see how bad it is. I don't see any metallic substance in here. It's dirty as all hell. Needed changed. I don't see any big material that came out of there. Well, I know this engine ain't perfect. I have some definite issues. I'm just gonna pull the heads, see how bad my issues actually are, start really digging into her. Doesn't look like any of my push rods are bad. That's good. Let's get these heads off. Don't look half bad. That's pretty gross. That's cylinder number 1. Needs cleaned out. Cylinder number 2 don't look half bad. 3, 4. So everything just needed cleaned out. I don't think. Yeah, just looks like everything needed cleaned out. Something fierce. Both of the harnesses to these things snapped before I got them out. Do I need these things? The knock testers? I don't know. Took the valley cover off. I guess it's alright under there. Needs cleaned. Everything needs cleaned. Should have known this engine was going to have some issues. But I didn't really check. An old trick. This works 90% of the time. If you go down, you're buying a new engine, you go down to look at the oil pan, the drain plug. That will be your sign whether or not this engine's going to be worth a crap. See, this one's kind of ground off and not in the best condition. I can't really get a socket on it because it's so rounded off. So that should have been my first indication that this engine's going to be issues. After I finally got the drain plug out, spilled oil literally everywhere. There's some water, and the drain plug had a little bit of metallic, quite a bit of metallic material on there. And pull the rest of the accessory drive off. Well, let's go take a look at what's underneath. Pretty good chip out of the oil pan right here. Ooh, and you can see that something chewed it up pretty good right here. Doesn't look half bad. I mean, dirty like everything else. I'm going to pull the harmonic balancer. Got that pulled right off. Now I got to take this cover off. Probably should have pulled this flywheel off before now, but I didn't, so I guess I'll get her off now. Well, here's the timing chain. There's a little slop in it. Thought there was supposed to be a guide or something down here, but there wasn't. So that may be an issue. Lifters don't look half bad. Like everything else, they need clean, but I think I'll be able to reuse them. Now the moment of truth. Oof. Let's see if we can slip this cam out of here. Looking at the cam, doesn't look like anything was scraped off or any of the lobes were flattened, or I don't see any marks. Don't see any marks or scratches or messed up part on this cam, so looks like I'll be able to reuse it. So apparently it's an LS6 cam that's 5.7 liter, has a little bit more lift and about the same duration as the 5.3. It has pretty good numbers, and this cam looks all right, so I think I'm gonna keep it. Pulled all the pistons in the back plate. Definitely should have done that while it was on a different stand. It was a pain in the butt, took forever, but got it. I didn't spin any bearings, but I didn't spin any bearings, but I'm gonna replace them all because they look like there's some damage. I think I can rebuild this block though. I think my engine's good. get it on a thorough cleaning. The crankshaft looks good. I don't see anything, you know, like I said with everything else. Just clean it all up. Get that race off of there. Or, excuse me, get that bearing out of there, which technically is a race. You know, I didn't spin any of these bearings. They just, they need a little love. There's just some scratches in there. And bearings are cheap insurance, so I'll go get a bearings kit, just replace them, throw a new timing chain in there, call it a day. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna call the video there. I'm gonna gather some parts, some more parts, then I'll put this back together, like I said, with new bearings and all new gaskets, clean everything up, make it a better engine. But I am going to rebuild it. I am going to put it in my 92 C1500. That is decided.